Gymnastics has been a part of Meghan Slay's life for almost 30 years. She competed in several meets throughout her childhood until she began coaching at 12. She hasn't stopped since. Slay has lived in Oskaloosa all her life. She is engaged and has 2 children, Ariana, who's 9 months old, and Xavier, who's almost 3. Meghan was the same age as her son when her love of gymnastics began. Her mother signed her up for classes when she saw how active Slay was as a child.
I was just kind of a wild kid, kind of all over the place and climbing all over, and so she thought it'd be a good sport to get me involved in.
She started gymnastics at the YMCA here in Oskaloosa, which was convenient because she lived next door. Slay trained on the balance beam, the vault, the uneven bars, and the floor. She excelled at gymnastics, although it's not always an easy sport to learn.
Gymnastics, really, it's one sport, but it's really, for women, it's 4. 4 sports, they're really 4 completely different things.
Slay began competing in YMCA meets at just 5 years old. She was a natural, winning several events throughout her youth. Her coaching career began at the age of 12 when she started helping in the younger classes.
They would have, older, usually Penn students doing work study or something would come in, and cheerleaders most of the time would come in to teach the classes, and they may know stuff about the tumbling, but not as much about, the vault, the bars, and balance beam. And so I kind of, had the knowledge, and then they were the older people that could, kind of control the class and stuff. And so I would do a lot of demonstrating and just a lot of helping that way.
When Slay was a sophomore in high school, she stopped competing and took over the gymnastics program as head coach. And what's your favorite thing about teaching?
I just love working with the kids, and I love gymnastics, so just sharing my love for the sport with the kids of every age and every ability.
When you were younger, did you ever think that you would be a gymnastics coach?
It just kind of was like a natural thing. I just love gymnastics, and I just never really thought of my life without it, I guess.
What are some of the challenges that you face every day?
I suppose retaining students. I just try to keep the classes fun. It's easy to keep a kid who excels. If they start out and they keep going through the levels, they, tend to have to enjoy it and stay. Probably the harder kids to retain are the ones that maybe aren't natural at gymnastics, but, enjoy it and they feel like they're kind of at the same level.
And when kids are having a little bit of trouble, if they're struggling a little on something, do you think it's more skill level that they have, or do you think it's more mental?
It's usually more mental, yes. Mm-hmm. And gymnasts get that. I'll have kids that can do their skills and do them all the time, and just all of a sudden they can't do it anymore. They just won't. They just run and stop. And it is very frustrating. It's as a coach, it's really frustrating when they can do it and they know they can do it, and you just kind of have to go back to the basics and just kind of drill them back through and go through it again.
Is there some event that's harder than the others, or are they all pretty much difficult?
It really depends on the kid. Your more stronger gymnasts and more powerful gymnasts are usually great vaulters, good at tumbling. Bars takes a lot of strength. So kids who maybe don't have the strength really struggle on the bars and maybe are more graceful, and so they do better on the beam and the floor because of the dancing and just the posing things.
Slay also says while gymnastics is a pretty individual sport, teammates are what help you through tough times.
They really inspire each other. So if you get a great group of kids, and they encourage each other, I can encourage all I want, but sometimes it's those other, their teammates out there, they're like, come on, you can do it, shake it off, and, get back out there. So for that aspect, they really develop a great relationship and become really close friends.
Slay's done a lot with the YMCA gymnastics program in Oskaloosa. She coaches an Amerikids team for the younger, lower skill level children. She also started a USA gymnastics team last summer for the more serious gymnasts willing to put in the time and effort to get better. The Oskaloosa YMCA is the only Y that has a competitive gymnastics program nowadays. That brings in kids from all over the area.
I have kids on both of my teams that come from as far away as Bloomfield. I think it says a lot about our program, and I just think it's unfortunate that they don't have programs closer to them. We're the closest that they can get to.
Another change to the program in the past few years has been moving practice facilities. Before, practice was held in the YMCA gym. Now the YMCA rents out space in a separate building. Slay says this helps her compete better with private clubs around the state.
I'm able to have practice a lot more. We have practice every day after school, and so we get more time in the gym, so that helps.
More practice time means an even busier schedule.
I'm in the gym basically during the school year, every day from the time school gets out, so 3:30, 3:45 until 9. Competitions, that's weekends. Basically from September through December, I have no weekends. And then I don't know. A lot of times I really have no weekends, period, because of meets and stuff, but I'm not complaining about it. It's my choice and I love it. So it just, sometimes it can be a little straining and it's just like, oh, I need a break. But, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just great fun.
Slay says it works out because she has the days to spend with her kids. Her son is also involved in the Mommy and Me class, and her daughter will be too when she's old enough to start.